Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Iran and also Netanyahu's visit to the United States. I'm also going to be talking whether there's a possibility of the Iran-Israel war starting again. Could be days or weeks, and some of the evidence is pointing that way. So before I start, don't forget to watch the video to the end. It really helps the algorithm. And also like, share, subscribe, and whatever you can to help support the channel. That'd be great. So Netanyahu came to Washington the other day, and President Trump and himself had dinner, and it was like watching a comedy sketch. You have these two grown men giggling like little schoolgirls, throwing each other compliments, and you had Trump saying Netanyahu is the greatest man in the world. Netanyahu nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize, and they're both like giggling and laughing and smiling, and it was just bizarre, guys. It was absolutely bizarre. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, this is like beyond parody. Beyond parody. You have America, which is the greatest nation on earth, absolutely subservient to Israel. They are doing Israel's bidding, and absolute to the world. It looks like America is basically a puppet state of Israel. That's what it looks like. And if you said this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, people will call you a conspiracy theorist. If anyone says that the Jews control America, people will think you're some sort of nut, you're some sort of conspiracy theorist, or they will kill you, like they did with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was one of the first people who, spoke out against the Jews. And what did they do? They destroy his name and they killed him. And the people who were accusing him of doing that stuff were Jews. I mean, you're welcome to Google search this. The families who accused him were all Jews. That's what they do. They accuse you of these hideous crimes and they kill you. And they've done that throughout history. So it's crazy how America, the greatest nation on earth, is absolutely subservient to Netanyahu. President Trump has kept no promises to his MAGA supporters, no promises. With this big, beautiful bill, he's gonna put some more debt on the country. He's gonna cut all of these services from the Americans. Um, with his border crisis. He's one day he's kicking out the Mexicans, next day he's telling them, oh no, actually Mexicans can stay, immigrants can stay because we need them for the farms and hospitality and all this stuff. Then he puts all these tariffs on all the countries and China, and a couple of days later or a couple of weeks later pulls back and changes his mind after crashing the economy. Every single thing, he's just breaking. Everything is breaking. And here you are. Here you are. He is servicing a war criminal. I mean, I would never ever see a president of the United States in the past be such puppets of Israel. Never. You would never see, Reagan or even the great presidents of the past. I wouldn't. I would probably say, some of these presidents were puppets to Israel, but they wouldn't make it so obvious. They wouldn't make it so obvious that it's right in your face. I mean, Lyndon Johnson was an obvious puppet, but you would never think that he was an actual puppet the way he was acting in front of people's faces. He wouldn't rub it in people's faces. Um, but yeah, Trump, Trump is the most powerful man in the world right now. He's one of the richest. He's the president of the United States. So why does he need to be such a servant to Israel? Why? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, people might say he's in the Epstein files, and they got the Mossad people. They've got something on him, and he's scared they might release it. I don't know, guys. I mean, I think it's more than that. I mean, yeah, the Epstein files. He has kind of what he's done. He's basically said that there's no Epstein client list, which means that Jeffrey Epstein and his Mrs. Maxwell. Why they are billionaires? Why is Maxwell in prison, and why did he kill himself? It just doesn't make any sense, right? So yeah, it's just crazy. I don't know what they got on him. They must have something major for him to be such a little school kid kissing up to Netanyahu's ass. Must be something major, right? Anyway, so why is Netanyahu in United States? The last time he went to United States, he started a war with Iran within days. So my guess is he'll probably do the same. If it's not days, he'll probably be in a couple of weeks. Because Israel doesn't stop. When they start something, they do not stop. They had that long war with Syria. They push for regime change. They push for civil wars. Absolutely destroyed Syria. Um, they've done the same thing to Libya. They've done the same thing to Iraq. You know, even if Israel doesn't do it, they'll get America to do it, to do their dirty work. So Israel is not going to stop attacking Iran. They'll attack either militarily or they'll, push for civil wars. Do, you know, they'll squeeze them financially. They won't stop. And I think Israel's major concern here is Iran's nuclear facilities, because if Iran managed to fix all of the damage in these nuclear facilities and they can test a bomb and officially call themselves a nuclear power, that is Israel's major weakness. Because if Iran gets a nuclear bomb, Israel won't be able to bully the rest of the Middle East anymore, and Israel will have to behave. So they don't want to do that. So I think Israel will do everything they can to stop Iran building a nuclear bomb, and I think this is why I think they're going to carry on bombing Iran. They'll get America to help them as well. I think Trump will help them, and if this is the reason why he's there. So let's look at some more articles. The foreign minister of Tehran says he's still interested in diplomacy. He's willing to restart nuclear talks. No, no, guys, no. The West does not want negotiations. I mean, last time Iran tried to negotiate with America, look what happened. Israel still bombed them. In the middle of a negotiation, they still bombed them. So Iran needs to just stop all this negotiation and start getting a bomb as soon as possible. They've kicked out all of the IAEAs, so nobody knows what they're doing. So I think what they need to do is build a bomb as soon as possible, and it's the only way they will survive. Only way. This is how North Korea survived. I mean, North Korea was subject of bullying from the United States for years. I remember the United States bullying North Korea for a long time. And there was a story how the North Koreans butchered a couple of American soldiers because they tried to chop off a tree in the North Korean South Korean border. And this was a special treat to the North Koreans, and so they butchered these Americans, and they put their clothes on display in a North Korean museum. I went to that museum, by the way. I went to visit there once a long time ago. And what the Americans did after that, they were flying around with nuclear airplanes ready to drop nuclear bombs on North Korea. They had a major, the whole army was deployed right next to the border. And what the Americans did, they kind of chopped off that tree as a show of force. But they also had all these kind of nuclear threats and stuff. So North Korea couldn't do anything back then because of those nuclear threats. So North Korea decided to build their own nuclear deterrent. And since they had a nuclear deterrent, you may have noticed that the Americans have stopped bullying North Korea. They don't even mention North Korea anymore. They just completely stopped bullying them. And and this is what Iran needs to do. They need to get hold of that nuclear weapon as soon as possible. Because even if a war starts with Israel and Iran again, Israel has always got the escalation dominance. So Israel can always escalate to a nuclear weapon, and Iran cannot. So imagine if Iran was throwing all these missiles into Tel Aviv, and one of these missiles hits the nuclear reactor in Tel Aviv, and then suddenly Netanyahu starts ordering nuclear strikes on Iran. And if he orders nuclear strikes on Iran and blows up every single city in Iran and kills most of the population, what's Iran going to do in return? You know, they can't really do much if their whole country is destroyed with nuclear weapons. And I mean, what's the world going to do? I don't think the world is going to do much. I mean, the world is doing nothing about this genocide. So if Israel's, you know, with American backing, EU backing, the West is backing them, I'm pretty sure that if Israel fires nukes at Iran, the world will do nothing about it. And um, and this is why it's very important for Iran to get a nuclear weapon as soon as possible. As soon as possible. This is a life or death situation. You know, China has done that in the past. Countries like Pakistan have done that with much less resources, and Iran needs to do the same. People tell me that there's a fatwa on Iran, basically, for it forbids them making nuclear weapons. I mean, this fatwa is going to be useless when most of your population is dead or your country is being blown up by nuclear weapons. I mean, what's this fatwa going to do? You know, at the end of the day, it's not about religion, it's about survival. And you need to get a nuclear weapon, guys, to protect yourself. There is no question. The West only responds to strength. You know, if Libya had nuclear weapons, they would not go into Libya. If Iraq had nuclear weapons, they would not go into Iraq. The West only responds to strength. So if you're strong enough and you got nuclear weapons, they will not, you know, they will not bother you. So this is what Iran needs to do. They need to get rid of all diplomacy, stop, you know, trying to talk to the United States because it's useless. It makes no difference whatsoever. So the Britain is also saying that outcome of Israel's war with Iran is uncertain, even if US joins conflict. So this article is talking about the dangers of having a war with Iran. And one of the dangers is, you know, Iran can block the Hormuz Strait and cause oil prices to go through the roof, and and that could destroy, you know, global economy. Yes, they can do that, but I think if Iran does that, you know, end of the day, there's only two countries that will benefit from this. Number one is Russia. Russia will benefit. Number two country that will benefit is United States, because United States is right now the biggest oil producer in the world by far. They produce much more than Russia and the rest of the world. So if the oil price rises, Americans will benefit. Russians will also benefit as well, but Americans will benefit. So closing the Hormuz Strait is not going to cause a major headache to America or Russia, but it will cause a major headache to the rest of the world. And this is why I think China has told Iran not to close it, because it's going to affect the rest of the world, but it's not going to affect America and it's not going to affect Russia. So I think this is why Iran has not done that. So I don't think that's an option for them. I mean, they can probably do it, but again, America and Israel have got escalation dominance, so they can They can always blow up Iranian oil facilities, facilities as well. So I don't think they want that. So again, I don't think they would go there. I think if they really want to protect themselves, they need to go nuclear. I've seen some reports that Iran has bought some Chinese jets and Chinese anti-aircraft guns, but this is not confirmed by the Chinese government, so I'm not sure how true that is. But even if it's true, it's going to take them years to learn how to fly these jets. They need a lot of training, and even the anti-aircraft guns. You need a lot of training to use them, and you need the whole infrastructure to be set up for you to effectively use these anti-aircraft guns. Or sorry, I didn't mean guns. I mean missiles. For example, you need the Chinese lasers to go with it. You need the Chinese radars. You need all the communication systems to be Chinese. So there's a lot of infrastructure work that needs to be done before you can use these systems effectively. So I don't think Iran has got time to do that, because I think Israel knows that, and America knows that, and they know Iran's capabilities now because they've already done one bombing campaign in Iran, so they know what works, what doesn't. They know what Iran has, and I think they're going to go again. And you've seen a lot of arms shipments going into Israel over the past few weeks. There's a lot of shipments going into Israel, so much, in fact, that America has got nothing left for Ukraine. And so there's a lot of stuff going into Israel. Europeans are sending a lot of stuff to Israel. So I think they are probably more prepared now for an Iranian fight back. And I think they're gathering intelligence, and I think they will go again, probably days or maybe even weeks. Who knows? But they will definitely go again. They are not going to stop. Israel never stops. And so UK is also, you can see from this article here, UK is pushing up the Iranian threat. I mean, Iran is not a threat to Britain at all, guys, not even 1%. And now they are trying to scare the British people thinking Iran is a threat. Same way they're doing it with Russia, and they'll obviously do it with China as well. So China, Iran, and Russia, they need to work together, guys. I mean, this is a life and death situation for I, I think for Iran, and I think Israel, I think China and Russia together, they need to see if they can help Iran in some way, maybe give them some sort of nuclear umbrella. And Iran has made some mistakes. I mean, don't get me wrong, Iran has made some mistakes, but I think mistakes have started from Raisi. When Raisi was killed, and I believe he was killed, this wasn't an accident. I believe he was killed by the Israelis, by Mossad. And Iran has had some sort of soft regime change because the new guy doesn't give me any kind of confidence whatsoever. He looks quite um, he looks very dopey. I mean, very dopey. Doesn't give any sorts of assertiveness or strength. He looks like a very dopey president, and he looks very weak, you know. And I think this is why Iran is being attacked because he looks very weak. He came onto the Tucker Carlson show the other day, and he looked very weak in that show. And I think Israel and the Americans will take full advantage because they know he's a weak leader. So this soft reboot that they've done, this soft regime change with the new leadership, I think has weakened Iran somewhat. And because of this soft leadership, he wasn't able to help Syria. Syria fell. He wasn't able to help Hezbollah, and this is the result that you show any sign of weakness, and this is what happens. Israel and United States take full advantage. So luckily, the IRGC, you know, they report to Khamenei, the Grand Ayatollah Khamenei, but they also report to him as well. So I think there is some sort of leadership uh, issue going on in Iran. Also in Iran, they need to get rid of all kind of US phones and software because a lot of Iranian leaders got killed because they were using iPhones and WhatsApp. So it gave away their positions. So they need to get rid of all of, American hardware, software, and start using Chinese, Huawei, for example. And yeah, they are doing this right now. They're getting rid of a lot of spies in Iran. They're getting rid of lots of Afghanis who are taking a lot of money from Israelis to spy, Indians as well. So they're doing that. They are cleaning house, but it needs to be done much more effectively. And they need to completely get rid of all kind of American software, hardware, anything, pages. They should have learned their lessons from Lebanon and Hezbollah. And I think Iran and China probably need to do, sorry, Russia and China probably need to do more to help Iran because Iran is very important to not only China but also to Russia as well. China gets lots of cheap oil from Iran. They also, Iran provides them a really good buffer as well in that part of the world. The Belt and Road goes through Iran. Same with Russia. Russia needs Iran. They need their, links to go through Iran to go into the Indian Ocean, so they can supply India and the rest of the Middle East. So Iran is very important to Russia as well, and I think they will probably help. I think China is definitely going to help, but I think gonna see, Iran was a bit disappointed with Russia's help, but I think Russia will help. Russia knows that Iran is a very important country. Um, Together, Iran, Russia, and China together, they will be very, very strong, against the Western hegemony. And I think this is why Iran will be very important for China, for Russia going forward in the near future. And I think for the second round, um, if it comes, I think China and Russia will probably provide more help compared to the first time. I think Russia didn't provide much help in the first time, but that's not Russia's fault, by the way. It is Iranian fault as well because um, they didn't sign any kind of defense pact, same as Russia has with North Korea, for example. I think Iran should have done that. They should have been under the protection of the Russian umbrella. You would have really helped them safeguard their security. I don't know why they didn't, because if you don't, then the West will just attack you and pick on you, and this is what they're doing. They see Iran as a target. So I think that was a mistake. If they can sign some sort of security guarantee with Russia, they should do it. But it's probably too late now because Russia is it's fighting in Ukraine. So I don't know what kind of help Russia can give unless they give some sort of um, nuclear umbrella to Iran. Same as Russia has done with Belarus. Belarus has got nuclear weapons there, protecting Belarus from any nuclear attack. So maybe Russia can do the same with Iran. But we'll see. We'll see if that works. But I'm going to end it there, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Israel will attack Iran again soon? Do you think Iran will be more prepared this time or less prepared? Let me know what your thoughts are. And I'll see you guys in the next video.